Welcome everybody to MAT 117 Math for Elementary Teachers. My name is Dr. Carl Lund and I'm excited to be your instructor for this course. I have a lot of videos for you to watch. They are in general all optional. I hope though that they will be valuable. This video also is optional. Really everything in this video is covered in pages in the course on Canvas. I do want to mention the purpose for this course. It is designed for elementary education majors. Early childhood education majors also are often required to take this course. I know that some of you may not be education majors and are taking this course as a math credit, and that's fine, but be aware that you are not the target audience for the course, and you're going to be asked to take on a teacher role in the course. Also be aware that the home campus of this course, Iowa Lakes Community College, does not count this course for math credit. It is required for education majors, but it does not does not count towards math credit. So if you're taking this course for math credit somewhere, please double check with your institution that it really does count for math credit. I put in bold here, not a methods course, because this surprises students every semester, and they tell me that at the end of the semester, and they shouldn't, because I tell you at the start, this is not a methods course. Those of you who are ed majors will take methods courses at your four-year college that will teach you how to teach math. This is not how to teach math. This is instead the math content that elementary educators have to teach. But it's not an easy class and it's not a simple class because it's not just review. It couldn't be for college credit if it were just review. But it's to try to build a deep or at least a deeper understanding of the content that you're going to be teaching students. This includes topics not directly taught in elementary school usually, like number theory. So what we're going to do is, as we do admittedly some review, we're also going to dig deeper at times and think about why that works or what are other ways that might also work. At times you will be asked to take on a teacher persona, in other words a teacher role, especially in course discussion boards. There's another video about discussion boards. Keep in mind that when you're doing that, the purpose isn't to show how great you can teach because you haven't learned that yet, generally speaking. It's for you to have mathematical discussions with language that is understandable. Here is the textbook. What you see on the right-hand side is a screenshot of the textbook, A Problem-Solving Approach to Mathematics for Elementary School Teachers. It is the 13th edition. It is built into the course. You access it through VitalSource in Canvas. I know that some learners prefer hard copies. I completely understand. I prefer hard copies. You can find the book on Amazon and other booksellers. Again, make sure you get the 13th edition. There is also an optional Student Solutions Manual available also on Amazon and from other booksellers. What this does is it gives worked out solutions to the problems that are also answered in the back of your book. In your book, every section has an assessment A and an assessment B. Assessment A problems are all answered in the back of the book. No assessment B problems are answered in the back of the book. All of your graded homework assignments will be assessment B problems, or will be taken from those problems. It won't be all of them, of course. So the solutions manual isn't going to help you directly, like you can't copy answers to the homework from it. But what it will do is it will help you understand the practice problems that I assign that you don't turn in for a grade. Again, completely optional. Some students really like using student solutions manuals and some don't. I personally found it helpful for myself as a math student, but I completely understand that they aren't for everybody. Here's how the course is structured. It consists of 8 modules. In the summer, each module is 1 week. Each module covers approximately 4 sections from the textbook. And in each module, you will find homework. The homework is 2 types. There is practice homework. Those are problems from assessment A that you are supposed to do and then check your answers in the back of the book. And then the graded homework is problems from assessment B that you will submit to Canvas. You're actually going to type your answers usually directly into Canvas, kind of like you were taking a quiz. There will also be quizzes. The quizzes in the course are, for the most part, multiple choice. There are a few questions that ask you to type, but for the most part, quiz questions themselves are multiple choice. And then there will be at least one discussion board in each module. There's one in every one except for module 1, which has 2. There is a midterm and a final. Those are both unproctored. Those are also multiple choice. Sorry, my mouse is not working. Please be aware that module 1, because we're doing housekeeping sorts of things, does have more work than normal. Throughout the course, if you run late, please prioritize your discussion boards. Those are the most important for you to get turned in on time. In general, work is due on Mondays at 11:59 p.m. The exception, Module 8, as well as the course, end on Sunday, July 20th. You may work ahead. The modules are open and remain open throughout the course, but there are some hard deadlines after which I will not accept late work. I want to point out that any math course, including this one, requires a time commitment. That shouldn't surprise you. To learn to do anything requires time, whether you're learning to play basketball or learning to ride a bicycle, learning to drive a car, learning to program a computer, or learning a foreign language, learning an instrument. All those things require time. So does learning math. And to learn math, you actually have to do math. That's true for pretty much everything else as well, right? To learn to drive a car, you have to get behind the wheel. To learn to speak a foreign language, you have to actually spend time practicing speaking that foreign language. To learn to play football, you need to spend time playing football. Now, throughout the course, especially in the first part of the course, I've made videos or selected pre-existing videos to help teach or reteach challenging concepts. But it's not enough for you to watch those videos. You actually have to do the math. You have to do the problems. And be aware that in the summer, although we only have 8 weeks, it is the same materials, the same assignments as the full semester course. It has to be. Here's my late work policy. I accept late work up to 48 hours late without any penalty. It will still be marked late in Canvas. I will see that it's late, but it won't be penalized. After 48 hours, there will be a 10% penalty. That doesn't apply to work that's graded automatically by Canvas. It's only for work that I grade myself. Late discussion boards, however, will always be penalized. So again, prioritize discussion boards. Discussion boards should be your first priority. Late work for any reason might receive minimal feedback. Late work for any reason, including work within that grace period, is my last priority for grading, and extra credit problems for late work might not be counted. During the semester, you may request a 1-week extension up to 2 times. So if in Module 2 you say, I need an extra week, that's fine. You can get an extra week for Module 2. That doesn't change any other deadlines besides that modules. And again, you have to adhere to the hard deadlines that I'm going to talk about in a couple minutes. All work is due at 11:59 p.m. Central Time unless otherwise indicated. Canvas will typically display your local time. So in other words, if you are in California, it's going to display Pacific time. If you're in Maine, it's going to display Eastern time. But what I see is Central Time, and Central Time is what is followed. So make sure, regardless of where you are in the world, that you keep in mind that Canvas, for our purposes, is running on Central Time. Here are the hard deadlines I've mentioned. July 14th, any late work from the first 6 modules has to be turned in by then. July 20th, which is a Sunday, any late work from Module 7 must be turned in, and all work from Module 8 is due as well on the 20th. That is the final day of the course. There is no grace period for Module 8 because I have to turn in grades on Monday. I will keep the final exam open and the extra credit quiz in Module 8 open after 11:59 p.m. on Sunday I'll accept those through noon, assuming that Canvas lets you submit them. I can't guarantee that it will. However, I won't add in the extra credit for the final. I will just let Canvas put in the points for the final. There are some extra credit opportunities. There are not individual extra credit assignments. There are some class-wide opportunities. The Module 8 quiz is entirely extra credit. There are several questions on both the midterm and the final exam that are extra credit. Occasionally on discussion boards, if a post really goes above and beyond, or replies go above and beyond to your peers, I will award 1 or 2 extra credit points. I usually, again, don't give extra credit for late work. Grading uses the standard scale. I do not use pluses or minuses. I only give incompletes in the case of an emergency, and if you've been doing passing work and you've been doing your work. So if it is, July 15th and you have a 25% in the class, and you email me and say, may I please have an incomplete, I'm going to say, I'm sorry, but no, you may not have an incomplete. Please be aware the syllabus does take precedence over this video. If I revise anything in the syllabus, which is really unlikely, I will announce that on Canvas. Please review the syllabus. And I also encourage you to save a copy of it, especially those of you who are going to be teachers. This is a required course for most education programs around the country. But some programs have specific requirements, and so they will want to see a copy of the syllabus. That's especially true, I think, if you're going out of state. I do want to mention challenge a little bit. Challenge is really important, and rigor is important in courses, both in your future classrooms, but as well as in college. Your students notice how you respond to challenges, whether they be academic challenges or behavioral challenges or personal challenges. In this course, and I've said this in other videos as well, chapters 2 and 3 are challenging to most students in the course. This is information that is not review for most people. You will get through them. I say this because the vast majority of students in this course get through them. I've made a video about doing well. I've made videos about those chapters and those challenging assignments. I encourage you to review those videos. Although math does build on itself, in this course, every chapter is essentially a fresh batch of topics. And so even if you do really poorly on chapter 2, and at the end of chapter 2 you have a grade in the course that you don't like, that doesn't mean that you aren't going to do well in the course overall. Because chapter 7 doesn't really rely on chapter 2. Chapter 8 doesn't really rely on chapter 2. Every chapter tends to be kind of self-contained. Every class is different. Every class has strengths and weaknesses. In general, most students in this class get an A or a B in it. That also applies to students who struggle in chapters 2 and 3. I've made other videos about discussion boards. I strongly encourage you to review the first 2 discussion boards and homework. They are from previous semesters, and I do sometimes revise things from semester to semester, but my revisions tend to be really slight. They tend to be slight, not major. There's also a video I mentioned before about getting help or doing well, and then a completely optional one where I introduce myself to you. If you have questions, you can email me at klund@iowalakes.edu. I do check my email daily. I will respond to you by the next day. And I say by the next day rather than within 24 hours because I check my email at different times. So maybe on Monday, I'm going to check it at 3 p.m. And then on Tuesday, I don't check it until 8 p.m. And so I check it at 3 p.m. on Monday. You email me at 5 p.m. on Monday. But then I don't see that until I check it again at 8 p.m. on Tuesday. And so it's going to be more than 24 hours, but it will be the next day. You can also message me through Canvas. If you email me, please put your section number in the email. Your section number is in Canvas. It's either 001 or 002. And then also tell me what your email is about in the subject so I know what I'm looking for. So, you have a question about the practice homework for chapter 6-1. You have a question about quiz 3, like the examples I've given here. Name of the number and section of the course, and then what you're concerned about. Thank you for watching this video. I wish you every success in the course this semester. And again, please reach out. Thanks.